Hello.
Hello.
How are you this
I'm well.
fine
How are you
day?
doing? Hold on, my
Oh,
audio is really quiet.
okay. It could be me. I haven't used this computer, so everything's not set up quite right.
Hmm.
Let's see. Hello, hello, hello. My microphone looks like it's working right.
Yeah, it is. It, when I started up Zoom, it said, "Hey, you're quiet. Do you want
Huh.
to turn up sound?" And I was wondering if it had its own volume control because this says I'm at 80%, and I was just watching YouTube and it was not quiet.
Um, I don't know. I just reinstalled Zoom on my good system. Um,
Hmm.
and the one that the web camera went out on, and I went, "Hey, what am I doing? I've got a pretty nice Logitech web camera." So I plugged it in. I'm using it, and it's working well. So no more laptop at home. And
That's good.
now I get the background again. And but I had to set it all back up, and I installed the latest version of Zoom, and it's quite a bit different than uh, at least on this machine, it's quite a bit different than
With its AI companion and whatnot.
well, the chat window and the participant window are two different windows now instead of being combined. And there's some
That's been a long time. What
really,
version did you go from?
I don't know, but I guess on the laptop it never made two different windows. It's kind of weird.
Hmm.
Uh, but
Yeah, I've had two windows, one for participants and one for meeting chat
for a while.
for quite a while.
Huh, interesting. Um, That that's typical. Every, everybody has different Zoom experiences. We could all be using the exact same Zoom software and it'd be completely different.
I wonder if you just switched from, oh shoot, what is it? Because there was Zoom and there was Zoom Workplace. They were different things.
Oh, okay.
And I'll bet you just upgraded to Zoom Workplace.
I bet I did because that's exactly what it says. It
And
says,
on my screen, I'm frozen.
yeah, you're kind of jittery.
That is so weird. Let's close down Chrome. I've only got 93 tabs in it.
Oh,
Hmm. Yep, it's still doing it.
yeah, you're frozen on my screen. So you're like maybe two or three frames a minute or something. You're kind of
Um,
real jittery. Oh, you disappeared altogether now.
I just stopped the video. Gonna see if we can change things. Because when I'm looking at the preview, it's fine. Hmm, I don't know. Maybe I
Well,
did something.
yeah, you look like you're fine now. So I really don't know. But yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe on the laptop I'm still using Zoom, and here I installed Zoom Workplace. In fact, I bet that's what happened because when I already had an old version of Zoom installed on this machine, and usually you get the little prompt about, upgrading or whatever,
Hmm.
and it it acted like I didn't have any Zoom installed, and I went, "Oh, well, that's interesting." So I just installed it anyway, and it got rid of the old one, but it acted like it was a completely new install. And this machine's interesting. Um, I didn't have to get a code to tell it, and I remember the last time I put Zoom on this machine, it didn't ask for a code. It just assumed that I'm who I said I was, I guess.
Um, well, if you already had Zoom on there and had used it, it wrote in its authentication bit. Um,
I would buy that 100% except the laptop. I had Zoom installed on it, and last week when I installed the new version or upgraded, it wanted the code, the username and password and code.
really,
Yep,
I didn't see that go through.
it did. Um, that's when I was texting you and you were at work, and
Oh,
with
okay.
the 5,000 machines that you get to hard turn off and all the fun
Yeah.
no power situation.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
That was so power went out at about midnight, maybe 10 p.m. Everything went over to battery, then everything went onto the generators, and we've got four generators running two data centers.
Okay.
The little tiny data center, which is just for legal stuff, it's got like, I don't know, 6 or 7 racks in it, has two mid-sized generators. Either one will run everything. So they have redundancy in generators. We have one huge generator that runs all the computers and a smaller generator that runs the air conditioning. The big generator was happy as a clam. The little generator threw a fan through the radiator, so
Nice.
the engine overheated and shut down. Then the room overheated and it didn't shut down.
Oh,
And there's no real way to remotely shut down 20,000 machines.
yeah.
There is now, we're working on it. There isn't yet, but there will be soon. But so I got that happened about 3:45 a.m. I got a call about 4:45 that, hey, it's really warm. And so I go into work without a shower or breakfast or coffee. And I'm going through here, and every rack actually has 6 individual breakers in it. And we're just flipping these little tiny breakers, and you can do about 4 racks before you've got to get out of the room. It was 140 degrees in there.
Wow.
And that was after they had been running fans in the doorways for an hour, hour and a half at that point. It was all
Wow.
sorts of fun.
Yeah, I can imagine you actually had to work. They actually
Yeah,
made us do work.
that's one of the things I'm glad I'm on salary for.
Yeah.
Because if they only paid me hourly and paid me for just when I actually have to work, I'd be poor.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, but then you get called in to deal with big problems.
Oh, dude, I've been on call for the last 40 years. I have. I, where was I working? I got called in once on Christmas Day
Yeah.
and it was a Saturday. It's not, and we had been off Friday and we were going to be off Monday. And they called me in on a Saturday on Christmas Day. Can you fix? Okay. I did charge them on that one as best
Yeah.
I could. They owed me a meal and I went to the precinct. So that was a $120 meal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess you're always on call, but it's eh, I don't know.
Sometimes it catches you unawares.
Yeah. Well, I know when I was trying our power here lately, it's been a lot worse than it was when we first moved in here. Um, our power went out like 3 times, and it was out out on.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's bad.
I hate when it does that. So all my lights reset. So I was going around trying to get those to work. I still don't have one set up because I can't get it to go into Bluetooth mode. So um that's how these lights you set them up through Bluetooth mode and then they switch over to Wi-Fi mode. It's really stupid. But um I got I was trying to make the meeting announcement and the machine just kept winking out on me and I'm like I give up. We'll just wait till something happens. And I've got lights flashing at me. Nope, not dealing with this.
Um, a couple of things. I brought Google back up with all my 90 tabs. Um, how many do I have? It's not that many. It's a good solid 30, I guess. It used to be whatever. Um, you're renting, right?
Hmm.
If you'd be comfortable plugging something into your breaker panel, you can get a whole home surge suppressor for about $40 at Lowe's, and they're definitely good. You got to turn everything off for little bit, but only to hook up 2 wires,
Yeah.
and it isn't, or 3 wires,
We
four
had
wires.
uh we had one at one of the houses we lived in. Um it came from Duke.
Hmm.
Well, at the
Yeah, it went
time,
behind the meter.
yeah, at the time I think it was Synergy, but
Yep.
it it went behind the meter and that thing was awesome. That
And CG&E at the time gave you a guarantee if anything broke, including phones.
Yep.
My my dad had a pile of X10 module stuff that was lasting 2 or 3 months. He got that surge suppressor and didn't lose anything for the next couple of years.
Well, I didn't know they made one that would go in the breaker box. It's probably worth spending money and doing that.
If you can also put one in a dryer line, if you've got an electric dryer,
Okay.
you can put a box in the line and put one of the whole house surge suppressors in that. That
Really?
way you're not making any modifications to the breaker box, nothing that the landlord can complain about. If you own the washer and dryer, you're set. If you don't, then you just replace the pigtail on it if it's
Yeah.
a four-wire breaker or four-wire pigtail.
I know we own the washer and dryer. So that's okay. And I knew that you could get a electric car charger that would plug into the
Mhm.
dryer breaker or the dryer circuit. And I thought that's kind of interesting because that would be a easy, cheap way to live in an apartment and throw a cord out the window and out
Yeah.
to the car. So I knew you could do that. I didn't know that they made whole house breakers that or whole house surge protectors. Um, I guess because of the one we had from uh CG&E or Synergy or whoever it was, um, I guess I always assumed they needed to go on the meter.
No, they've just got the best ground there. And basically anything over about 320 volts just gets shorted to ground.
Yeah.
When I worked at Kings Island, there was a box up on the wall, and it was, I don't know, 2 feet by a foot and a half by foot and a half, and just a gray vented steel box. I never thought too much of it. And one day a thunderstorm comes through, and my boss walks by and says, "You probably shouldn't sit there." I'm like, what? I was sitting up on the bench right under this thing. That's the surge suppressor off of the equipment on top of the tower, the
Mm.
Eiffel Tower at KI.
Yeah.
And it was MOVs. I opened it up after the thunderstorm. MOVs that were 9 inches in diameter and about an inch and a half thick. And those things would short out a lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Usually, occasionally, they'd explode.
Yeah, you probably don't want to sit under that.
Nope.
Yeah, I would imagine the Eiffel Tower, I mean most radio towers are fairly well grounded just for that very reason.
Yep. But we had speakers up there that weren't grounded. We had antennas up there. We had a lot of equipment mounted on top of that thing.
Yeah.
We had a 4 inch conduit that ran all the way to the top and straight into our shop.
Okay.
At the time, our shop, and they've moved it since then, and now it's underneath. Um, oh, there's a little stage at the back by shit. Um, I can't remember the name of half the rides anymore. Anyway, where we used to be when you first came in, if you'd walk down the right side of the fountain, about halfway down the fountain, there was a road that cut over into Hanna-Barbera land. And we were on that corner right there. There was a candy shop on one side and just a green door and a vine-covered wall on the other side. And that wall was at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
It wasn't a shop. It was always locked. People weren't allowed in. Um, that was the first place I worked where we had RFID locks. We just, as we get close to the door, within about 2 feet, it would unlock. We could walk right in, and somebody behind you would just run right into the door. You'd hear it about one time in 30 or so.
Uh, um, I know exactly what you're talking about.
We had our own generator. We had a lot of neat equipment there. I enjoyed KI. Well, so where did the chat go?
I didn't do it.
This link is for an Amazon surge suppressor. I wouldn't trust it as much as building my own
Okay.
because I could build it for $50 if I bought all the parts.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it says, I don't know what that little switch on it is for. There's no reason for any switches whatsoever.
There
It
was
just,
switch on a surge protector. That seems wrong.
yeah, and they don't mention what it's for that I've noticed. But if you've got that plug on your dryer, two
Yeah,
parallels around and a L-shaped under,
I think that's what's on the dryer.
then
I
it's pretty easy to make that. Oh, wow. They make them for RVs that are $40. Huh.
RV surge protector. Yeah, $40.
But wrong plugs.
Yeah, well, it's kind of easy to change a plug. It's the wrong plug, wrong plug, wrong plug.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's not so easy.
Yeah, that plug is 30 amps.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I was not that I'm going to buy an electric car, but I was kind of curious about, you know, our apartment complex will probably never put chargers in. And I was like,
mhm.
you know, just what would you do? And I started looking and I was like, oh, well, that's cool. People apparently have come up with, stuff. And I was looking, apparently you can do the same thing with the stove, but it's more of a because you don't unplug, you can't get to the stove as easy. It's a one-time deal. You plug it in and you leave it alone.
Yeah.
So, and it's got some sort of switch on it, auto sensing switch, so that if you're using the stove, send it won't charge your car, and if you're charging the car, it won't let you use the stove.
Wonder how that works.
Yeah, that's probably some sort of big diode thing or something.
These things have gotten much more expensive than my recollection.
But they're coming from China. Everything.
And they've
That's
got them from Siemens for $60. Um, they've got these as just breakers. If you've got two extra side by side,
No, my box is full. I'm
ooh,
honestly surprised that I don't trip breakers all the time, honestly. We the only time I've actually tripped a breaker was when the AC, the big unit froze up, and it kept it kept tripping the breaker. And that was really the only time. Of course, they fixed that. So put a whole brand new AC unit out there.
I had that happen to me because I failed to replace my air filter.
They're pretty good about replacing the air filter, but uh, 2 years ago, yeah, probably 2 years ago, we flipped on the AC and we could hear it, the compressor kick in, and then suddenly it just stopped. So threw a bearing in the unit, and it didn't take them very long, uh, maybe a week, because they had to order the new unit. And then last year, last season, um, the blower motor. Uh, I wish I should have taken a picture of this blower motor. It was so encrusted with stuff. Just, oh, it was nasty. The weird thing was is it kept trying to come on. It would run for a few minutes and then it would kick off. And it would just, and I kept telling I probably took a week before the maintenance guy he actually came in and he was like, kicked on the thing. Yeah, it's running. I don't know what the problem is. I said, just stand here. Just wait. And then you could hear it. It just
Hmm.
I'm like, yep, that's what it's doing. He goes,
It's
oh,
probably had a seized up bearing that overheated the motor. The thermal kicked out on the motor. Then the bearing and the motor cooled down and it tried again.
and well, it was just encrusted with years of stuff. I mean, just it was nasty. The he had an extra one in the workshop and he brought it, and I mean it took him all of like 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to replace it. But he basically said, um, the furnace that we've got is really, really old and they can't get the parts anymore. So he was going to have to take that one back and beat the crap out of it and get it working so that they would have a spare for the next time. They kept replacing spares around. Is that a Did you put a different one? No, that's the same one.
No? Oh, I wasn't supposed to be. Sorry. What did I do?
I don't know. It's the same one. I was looking and I was like, wait, that's the same one.
That's the different one.
There we go.
So this is the one that you just put on the bottom of a small box with, I mean, you get a box, put a dryer outlet on the box, put this on the bottom of the box, and run a dryer pigtail out the top.
Okay.
Hook the four wires up to the four leads on the pigtail, and you're set.
Yeah, that's a whole lot better price wise. Whole lot easier to deal with.
Actually, you could mount that on the back of the dryer. Um, hmm, that'd work pretty well. Just unplug the dryer, hook that up to the four leads off the pigtail, and plug the thing back in.
That should be a they should just have these in like new installs and stuff. It should just be a thing.
In a lot of places, they do. Um, they're getting better with low voltage wiring as well. I A friend of mine had a house built, and he asked the electricians to run Ethernet to every room, and went out and marked where they all went and everything. And the
Yeah.
electricians ran the cabling. The drywall guys came up, and Brian comes up and says, "Where do the wires come out?" They came out right next to the electrical panel in the garage. Like, no, I wanted it in the basement here. And he said, I said that. Yeah, well,
Oops.
so we just we put a 24 port patch panel in his garage with a 24 port switch, and he did have an outlet in the basement. So the switch just ran its fan a lot more.
A lot more, yeah. Yeah.
And my
Well,
video is freezing up again. What the hell?
you started Chrome again.
Yeah, let's close a few tabs. See if
The
that helps.
I think I told you about that one house that me and Patty had wanted to look at. Um, it's dirt cheap. It was in Middletown. Had no walls. They had the uh two by fours up where the walls should be, but no sheetrock or anything. And I was like, this is perfect. That was what I was going to do. I would have ran uh you know Ethernet into every home, and I would have, or into every room, and I would have ran some other stuff. USB. I would have ran had USB in a bunch of the places with the what do you call it? Uh it's basically an extender, but it
USB to Ethernet adapter.
yeah, 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 yeah. And when we were when we had the RV, I was going to have well, I was going to have VGA in all the places so I could just plug a monitor in everywhere, but now it would be HDMI. So I was going to put HDMI in all the rooms and do all kinds of stuff. But that never happened.
I can't imagine actually trying to build a house at this point, but this place has Ethernet in all the bedrooms. Um, I've got a cable going into the garage. I've got an access point there. I've got an access point up here on the second floor. Um, Pretty decent coverage everywhere here for wireless and for cables. I've got, I mean, right here, well, it doesn't show well, but that's my little baby rack.
Yep,
And
yep.
this cabinet here is a old, well, not terribly old, a 2019 AMD Threadripper um, that's got 7 or 8 VMs running on it. So behind that, I've got 4 network jacks. And in that closet is the switches. I've got a TV tuner. That's a fun toy. Um, there's a UPS there. There's a UPS at the bottom of this little rack here. I've got very good backups. Um, I just got a collection of new drives to do backups on, and I've got one of the medium size waterproof boxes from Harbor Freight that is big enough for 6 drives and a couple of Raspberry Pis. And I'm trying to figure out how to keep it waterproof and keep it cool and get enough power to it to be able to do RAID over USB and put it out in the shed in the back of the yard,
Mm.
connected with fiber and actually I got 200 watts worth of solar panels. So I could just leave it out there. If the house burns down, I've got a backup in the shed. If the shed burns down, the house is the backup. But it's 80 feet away. The chances of the shed going out at the same time that the house does are pretty slim. So what is this car behind you here? I don't recognize that.
That's the Batman Batmobile.
Ah, okay. I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, you need to see that one. It's controversial.
Okay.
Um, that one, oh gosh, three and a quarter hours, something like that long. And
Oh,
it was almost a 4 hour movie before they cut stuff. And I really, really want to see the 4 hour version because it was that good. I want to know what they cut out. It might actually explain a couple of the weird things about that movie that like,
feel like I missed something here.
yeah, kinda. It's it's a grounded, well, it's as grounded as you could get for a cartoon character or a comic book character that is complete fiction in the first place. But there are certain parts that are less grounded, and it would be nice if maybe the 4 hour version explained why he could do certain things that he shouldn't be able to do. Like from my count, he should have been dead like 4 times, and or very, very scarred. But it's a good movie, and if you kind of suspend belief a little bit, which you have to do with most movies anyway, but it's a um I wouldn't I wouldn't say that it was you know, I think Batman 89 probably is one of my favorite Batman movies, but this one was right up there.
Never even heard of Batman 89.
Michael Keaton.
Oh, okay.
It came out in 89, so everybody refers to it as Batman 89 because it was just called Batman.
Yeah. Okay. Just for camp quality, I liked the one with Mr. Freeze, with Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze and Nick Clooney
Yeah,
did Batman.
yeah. Um, a lot of people give that one a lot of hate just because, and it's really not as bad as everybody says it is. It's pretty bad, but it's 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 okay. Um,
There were quite a few very well delivered lines in it.
yeah.
Um, I, I thought it was pretty good.
He went they went well, I mean, I'll go back to what I said. Batman is a comic book superhero who you have to suspend a lot of belief with in the first place. And then you've got Adam West's version of Batman, which was very, very funny and campy. And then you've got a far more grounded take in um what's his name? Michael Keaton and Batman. And then you've got, the second Batman, what was that? Batman Forever.
Hmm.
And then you've got Batman and Robin with Mr. Freeze and all that. And they went back to bright lights and campiness and just plain silliness. And then you've got the Dark Knight series and all that. And I don't know, you know, of course, um, Adam West's version, he's an icon. So, but Michael Keaton's was always one of my favorite. And then I really liked The Batman. I really thought that was a good movie. And I really want to see the very long version of it. Howdy, Vicente.
Hello, you are in a garage.
I
Greetings.
Yeah.
that's my new car.
Ah, nice.
You reckon
Homemade.
you recognize that car?
No,
That's the Batmobile
which one? The last one?
from 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 the Batman. Yeah,
Oh,
from Robert Patterson.
see,
See, it,
Batmobile.
it is difficult for me to take Robert Pattinson seriously.
Yeah, me, me either. Same happened to me.
Well, I mean that's pretty much what everybody said about Michael Keaton too. Michael Keaton
Yeah.
can't play Batman. He's a comedian and blah blah blah. And he was a really good Batman.
One would
Let's see.
question the comedian part if they'd ever watched the last Beetlejuice.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I have not seen the Beetlejuice.
We
Um
watched it yesterday. It's pretty bad.
that's that's my new blanket that Patty
Nice.
found at a garage sale
Nice.
for one whole dollar. It's not big enough to be useful as a blanket, but it sure is a nice wall hanging. So here, that should make you feel better, Vicente.
Yeah,
You,
yeah.
you might recognize that one a little bit better.
Yes, of course. That's what a comedian. That Batman was
Yeah.
a comedy.
Well,
Fun.
that's what we were just talking about was Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, and kind of going back and being more of a campy comedy. It wasn't you know it wasn't as bad as a lot of people say it was. And when you take it in the vein of being a campy movie, it was actually pretty good.
The movie, I love the movie. Yeah,
So
they put all together, all the mobiles, Batcopter, the boat, the car, everything, all the criminals together.
this is my Batmobile though. That's the when I think of the Batmobile, that's the one I think of.
There is a guy in Ohio that made a full replica, right?
Yeah,
Really
and
good one.
and we need to get one. We need to go and take a ride in the Batmobile.
When I went to Cavalcade Customs, they had 5 Batmobiles. They were all replicas.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was enough money in Cavalcade Customs to make it worthwhile to replicate the Batmobile 5 times. But they had the Chuck Barris one. Um, they had the Tumbler. They had one I hadn't seen. Hold on, I've let me. Uh,
The Tumbler is probably my least favorite Batmobile out of all of them.
really,
Yeah.
I like that one just because the good voice guy made it. Um, the black guy that does the really good voiceovers.
Oh,
Yeah, him.
yeah. It's doing the Arby's commercials. You've got the meat.
No,
No,
that's a different guy.
different guy. Okay.
Um, Trying to think when it must have been 2023. It was warm weather. Oh, that's not it.
Did it look like a
Hmm.
tank?
Which?
The Batmobile that you're thinking of?
Not particularly, though it was camo-ish colors.
Are you thinking maybe of the Batmobile from um what was that? Batman versus Superman, maybe?
I don't know. I never saw it.
Okay.
I, I don't watch a lot of movies.
It
Anyone saw the Mission Impossible?
no,
It's
Oh
very
yeah,
large, very
that I
large.
saw.
Yeah, how was?
It was okay.
It's too large. It's a long 3 hours or something.
It was definitely very long. Um,
My wife wants to see it, to watch it. So maybe we will go tomorrow.
oh,
Wow.
wait, come back.
where'd it
Looks
go?
like a tank.
Oh, that doesn't look like it.
That doesn't look like it. There's
They had that one, I think.
okay. That's the Batman Forever. That is the Batman. That is the Justice League Batmobile and the Tumbler and the classic.
I'm not sure I like they change the design every time, too much changes.
Here, let me share my screen.
Should be able to.
Mm, yeah.
So this
Oh,
is starting as you just walked in to Cavalcada Customs,
okay.
and that one had been signed by Bert and Julie Newman or Newmer.
See.
Cool.
Mhm.
This was a replica. It wasn't
Yeah.
the one that they used in the TV
Nice.
series.
Nice.
Yep.
No, 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 no.
Batman. Nice.
And I don't remember which movie was which car. I know that I saw
That's
that one in a movie.
that was
But
89.
this looks smaller than the real one, right?
No, this is full size.
Full size.
They were replicas, but they were full size.
Okay. Wow.
And I'm
Oh,
skipping back and forth a little bit.
Yeah. Nice.
nice.
Mm.
I
That
kind of
was the
forgot that
set.
she had a motorcycle.
Yeah.
That would be That would be Val Kilmer's Batmobile, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
The next one will be a self-driving car.
And I got pictures of all of those placards. This was the Tumbler,
The,
which
It's crazy.
I
Yeah.
kind of liked.
Vibration.
yeah,
And then
I
there's that. And I have no idea what that's from.
This is
that's
the next
the
one
it
or what?
that's either the Justice League or Batman versus Superman.
Ah,
That one has heavy armament. That one's
this one was obviously a reproduction. Once you're this close to it, you can see that the tires are even fiberglass.
yeah.
They had no squish in the sidewalls. Um, it just looked, it didn't look as good as I would have hoped.
Yeah. Yeah, that one really doesn't.
Non-functional. Yeah.
Eh,
And that
Justice League.
was okay. Yeah, Ben Affleck as Batman.
That one's not one of my favorites either.
And it's on a flatbed. And this is the tongue of the trailer up here.
Okay.
So they don't even take it off of the flatbed. And the others were all sitting on the carpet.
But it probably didn't move. It probably was like you said, it was,
They don't
Yeah.
move the wheels
yeah.
or nothing. This is like
And there
a
was stuff
model.
like this.
What?
That's that's not a Batmobile.
No, that's not.
A Hot Wheel
That
model.
just amused me. It was so stupid.
But nice.
I love Cavalcade Customs, but some of their stuff was just a little odd. It'd be fun to sit in a Lambo, but they were charging like $8 to let you sit in that thing.
Where was this show?
This was Cavalcade Customs in Cincinnati, um, January 2024
Okay.
in Duke Energy Center,
Uh-huh. They are
which,
remodeling the Duke Energy Center now.
They
They are changing everything.
Cavalcade of Customs comes around like what, every couple of years?
yeah, two or three.
Yeah.
And these were the ones I liked. So this is a um, Austin Healy Bug-Eyed Sprite, number 8 there. And that's why it's called the Bug-Eyed Sprite. That is a Lotus Elan, a Triumph TR2 or a TR6. I don't remember which. I think that's a TR2 because the TR6 had a straight 6 engine and this is a straight 4. And a Morgan. I was just, if I could afford any car I wanted, I want something that looks like that. Um, the MGTC, though that had awful suspension, or this. I want a little English open car. And I really am curious why the English have open cars when it rains 3 days a week and weird stuff like that. My dad had one of these. New Corvette.
Your dad had a new Corvette?
Dad had an old Corvette, um, but no, that little scooter.
Yeah,
He had one of
I
those.
saw it. I saw it.
But
I saw one of those new Corvettes a couple of days ago, and those things are more Batmobile than some of the Batmobiles.
yeah, what do those cost right now? It helps if you spell it right.
The uh, what
Oh,
is it? What is it? The seven.
well, they Chevy promised that they would start out at 60K.
Okay, and
They're not. Um,
oh no, that's not 60K.
166,
Suggested.
though I'm not.
The Z6.
So here's one at just over 100, and this is the one that you see the most, I think.
Yeah,
How much for a 2024?
there you
That's
go.
not bad.
That,
65,
That's the coupe, but okay. 70.
70
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
convertible.
They're 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 at least in the realm of 66. Until you get there.
Yeah, I'm curious that that Z06 is that expensive. But 65, that's honestly, that's better than I expected them to be. And they have 650 pictures of it. Jesus.
That's a bad machine.
wow, wow. It's a movie. You
Yeah.
can put them together and it's a movie.
I think it's the Z7. I think is one that they actually considered using as a Batmobile,
Hmm.
and Chevy didn't want them to do it for some reason. I think it would have made a fantastic Batmobile. Fast and sleek and modern, and I think it would have, like, people would have been like buying them just to convert them to Batmobiles. Here's a Batmobile. Here's a Batmobile that you've probably never seen. Can I?
I'm not sharing anymore. Oh, nice.
That is the Batmobile from the 1949 and 1943 movie.
Cool.
Yeah,
Do they tell you a 39 Cadillac 75?
yeah. And in the movie, if the top was it the top was up, he was Batman, and if the top was down, he was Bruce Wayne. They never changed cars. It was a um and then the Batmobile for Gotham, the TV show, was a Mustang, a Ford Mustang. It was probably what you would consider a proto Batmobile.
So the 39 Series 75 was also called the Fleetwood.
And the Batwoman TV series, which was just horrible, did use a Corvette C7 as the Batmobile. I think they bought it themselves. I don't think Chevy endorsed it because you just don't hear people talking about. Not only was it a horrible TV series, it just was bad.
Kind of surprised that thing's got a V8 in it. I expected it to have a bigger engine.
Does it say
Okay.
how much horsepower it's got? 700?
Oh God, no, it'd be like 150, but 150 horsepower as brake horsepower from 1939
The
would be
1939. Okay.
would be a completely different thing today. Um, so,
I thought you were talking about the Corvette. I'm
oh
sorry.
no,
There's there's one with all the armament as the Justice League.
I like that 50 cal mounted on the
Yeah,
roof.
yeah. Some of these pictures in this are just horrible. Oh, our favorite Batmobile. Oh, they've got Batman 89 as being the number one Batmobile. I'd say that one's more iconic than that one, but it's probably a very close. They're 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 probably very close.
So if you have an interest in this 1939, I just posted a link to. That's up in Dayton, Ohio.
Oh,
It's
oh,
got 68,563 miles on it.
nice. Seems seems fairly reasonably priced too.
Yeah, only and they list it as cosmetically perfect. Jay Leno will go buy that thing.
If he knew about it, he would. Yeah, that's a
Jay
pretty
Leno has
car.
people just to tell him where pretty cars are.
That's a pretty car. Yeah, well, either him or Tim Allen. Tim Allen's a big car guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was a YouTube video where the two of them were together, Tim Allen and Jay Leno, and they blindfolded one of them and just drove a car, put them in a car and just drove it. And the blindfolded guy was able to tell the what year the car was within a couple of years, what make, what model, all kinds of stuff about the car just from listening to it and feeling the dashboard and that kind of stuff. Those are car people. They know stuff. They don't have to look stuff up on the internet. They just know. But I think it was like a 1944 or something, and Tim said it was a 43, and he was like so close. It was so close that they just had to give him the point anyway, because how can you not give him the point for that? But I think that was Jay Leno and Tim Allen doing that. Uh-oh. Oh,
Sorry about all the ads on that one.
ad blocker. I have to. I used to watch quite a bit of Jay Leno's Garage, but here
Hmm.
lately it seems like it's turned into ads. Like he's trying to sell you cars or something. He's he's driving around in modern stuff and it doesn't seem nearly as fun.
You're talking about Leno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has a 180 cars, almost 200. It's a
If I had
huge
a chance
garage.
to get any one thing out of Jay Leno's garage, it'd be that steam engine, the thing that looks like it's from Victorian England with
Okay.
the arches and everything.
One of the first cars ever.
That weird jet car that was a
Hmm.
prototype or something. I
Yeah,
think that would be the one I would want.
probably the most repairable of all of his stuff.
I posted a link. There's the link to Tim Allen and Jay Leno. So where they blindfold each other and guess which car they're in. And it's not that long. It's like 7 minutes long, so it's a pretty short video. But
Have you seen the hover bike, like a Star Wars bike? Let me share the
Yeah, I saw that. I I get kind of scared whenever the concept of if a battery goes dead, I just fall.
mm,
the problem is the noise. You know, you don't there are like four turbines that make a lot of noise.
I thought maybe you were going to show what James Bruton had come up with. It wasn't really a hover bike though. It was a kind
This
of a
one
hoverish bike
is
with wheels. That is,
this is the one that the Marines are using.
that's kind of cool.
This one is amazing to you press the sound. It looks nice. So the hover bike, right?
It's more like a quadcopter that you ride.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like this one. I don't like the propels running close to you. It's like dangerous.
Yeah.
Camera. Too close. Those motors too close to your
Too
legs.
close. Yeah, one wrong move and you're in those propellers.
One hundred 24 miles per hour. Fast. Half, half the speed.
Yeah.
We will see then the next James Bond using it.
I was kind of thinking that.
Jet propulsion. Rock poison. Real or scan.
I've seen a lot of videos of people flying like that out over
Yeah,
water.
this guy fell in the water. Right.
That one almost doesn't look real.
Yeah, too good to be true.
Yeah.
This guy say it is a joke. As an engineer, there are too many questionables. Look, they say that this guy is saying that is so loud, they don't let you hear the noise because for jets of this size, they are really noisy, really noisy. And it's start a fire. it's not real. They don't have a video of the back takeoff or landing. Well, that's true. We never see the takeoff or landing in any video. This is strange. Okay. They flew in the desert because no one in the city will be willing to deal with the noise. Noise is a real problem with this technology. I finished my Arduino shield.
Okay.
This is a shield for the Arduino and is a Kimball one.
Oh, cool.
You only need 4 resistors to multiplex all the LEDs and all the keys, and works perfectly.
I like it.
It has a real-time clock. This is with the battery in the bottom, you see?
Oh, yep, yep, yep.
It's an I2C real-time clock. That's it. Now it's running a watch program. You can read in BCD the three bits for 1 digit and 3 bits for the no four bits for the BCD. You see six in binary in
Mm-hmm.
the lower nibble, and when this guy is blinking, you see the minutes. 6 minutes here, 1 and 9. 1 and 9 is 19. So you see 6, 19.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You see,
Cool.
it's BCD, and it only use the buttons, LEDs, and the 4 resistors. That's it.
Nice.
And because I hate the former USB connector, I bought adapters for USB-C. Let me show you. This is the old connector,
Yep.
and I like USB-C. See, it's larger, but I don't need to keep those huge
Yeah.
blue things.
I'm the other way. I hate USB-C.
I love it.
They try to push too much through too tiny of a connector that has too many frail little pins. You can put 160 watts through. No, you can't, not reliably.
Well, you can, but increasing the voltage a lot to keep the current low. But I like
Do,
they are very strong, sturdy.
do you have a link to those adapters?
Amazon.
Amazon.
Let me
Okay.
check.
Yeah. I got USB-C to micro.
Okay. Do I have one of those? Just one. Let me check my
Well,
or order my order list.
I got tired of swapping cables out. So I've got a USB-C cable plugged in all the time. So
Do I like the
hmm
USB-C?
I just got tired of swapping cables because I'm lazy. So now I've got a little adapter thing.
There's nothing I need to go super fast with. So I've got a lot of those little magnetic connectors that go to USB-C or micro,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty happy with those.
I'm
I'm sharing the link in Amazon,
okay.
but you can buy them in AliExpress also.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm ready for
I
the
pay I pay I
uh,
pay
says it
no, they are not available now.
they're not available.
No.
That's all right. There's
Look
a
for
link.
USB-C to B adapter.
Here's one. Here's one. How
USB-C
how
to
many 3-pack for $7?
yeah, that's it.
Yep. That'll work.
Mm,
I think that's what I ended up paying for this for this thing.
okay.
I think it was a 3-pack and it was $5 to $7. It wasn't
I,
it
I,
wasn't
ha- I
very
have
much.
too many boxes with USB cables, too many.
Well, I've got a
Micro,
yeah, I've got a box up above me that is full of cables for all the various microcontrollers, and I just got tired of getting up and looking for the right cable. I've got this sitting right here next to me in my little
oh, it's transparent.
it's it in my little thingamabob. Gotta turn off my background. My little
Okay.
3D printed thing. I've got my
Okay, okay.
my Ventoy and a whole bunch of SD cards, micro SD cards, mini SD cards, whatever those things are. And this little adapter deal sits right in there. And this sits right next to me on my desk. And I don't have to get up because I'm too lazy to stand.
Now I only buy USB-C controllers mostly. Actually, I bought like four Raspberry Pi Pico with the USB-C.
Yeah. USB-C is pretty much all I'm finding anymore on controllers, but all these old controllers I've got,
I used to break the USB micro connector. I I always breaking them, but USB-C is strong enough for me.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really have a problem with the micro. I don't really have a problem with what's on the Uno, even though that was really a that connector was
Well,
really
it's bulky,
for a printer.
yes, they
That
call
connector was for everything. It worked with hard drives.
they call the cable as a printer cable, you know.
I
It,
I
w-
only I only ever saw it on printers until I got an Uno, and then I was like, what the
Yeah.
hell?
I saw that on printers. I saw it on scanners. I saw it on hard drives.
I did
It was on everything. It
I
was a
did
great connector. It was solid.
Yeah,
You could
yeah.
get them in 90 degrees that were close to the the
But
box.
becomes too big for small things, you know.
It
One of my least favorite connectors. The little
the micros.
micro on
Yeah.
Yeah.
the the Pico.
Mhm.
Now that said, one of my favorites. Oh, where did it go? This little guy is a Pico with USB-C.
Uh-huh.
They're very
Yeah.
handy.
Yeah.
I'm working on a keyboard right now that uses this, and they're easy to program. And this one has a reset button as well as a boot
Yeah.
button, so you don't have to unplug it and everything. Just
I
press
think
both
that
buttons, let
those
go of reset.
The I've got like microcontrollers from a bunch of different generations, and a bunch of them have
this is only
the
only
micros.
Picos. I have this Pico, very small one with USB.
Hmm.
Let me open the one of them. Is open because I was try to do a blinking thing or something to check that it's working.
Here's a step back.
Oh
Look
yeah,
at this.
It still runs.
This is a Pico Pico.
pico pico.
Hmm.
Very
Wow, that's
small.
even smaller than this thing.
Yeah, you can eat this one.
I got
And I have.
I got an M5 stack board that's got to be about yay big by yay big. I mean, it's a tiny. It's no bigger than a USB-C connector. It's a little bit longer, but it's no bigger than a USB-C connector.
After you talked about it on one of the meetings, I went and got one of the 5x5 2816 Picos. It's it's cute. It makes a lot more light than it has any right to.
Well, each time there's a new connector, microcontrollers get the new connector. So I've got, generations that only used my micro USB. And then I've got, a bunch of them that have been updated and now they have USB-C on them. So every generation, you can almost
I,
look
bu-
at
I
at
bought a
them.
bunch of Picos from China using the USB-C.
Yeah.
Yep. I never saw any little microcontroller boards that used the mini B. That wasn't around for long.
No.
Mm.
No, the mini what I don't even really remember anything that used it. I guess cell
Now
phones.
Hard drives
USB-C will be everywhere,
until they come up with USB-D.
maybe. But the 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 last three cars I rented, they came full of USB-C connectors in the back, in front, everywhere. USB-C
Hmm.
connectors in the panel, in the armrest, in the chairs of the in the back of the front seats. USB-C everywhere.
One of my big problems with USB-C is it's so small that once dirt does get down in there, you can't clean it. At least with USB-A, I can use a toothpick and clean gunk out of it.
Yeah. I never had a problem with them. Yeah. plugging and unplugging all the time stuff here.
I've known a few people that have had apples that got junk in the connector that they couldn't get out.
That connector.
This is the
Yep.
mini.
Yeah, I guess that was on. They did use that on phones, didn't they?
Yep.
I've got something somewhere that uses that.
The Motorola Z series flip phones used it. I've got an old Western Digital My Book
You
that
want to see
uses it.
a nonsense? This thing has castellated pins,
Hmm.
uh, but it has components in the back. So what's the point of to connect this thing?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
You
that
cannot
doesn't
put
make
this
a whole lot
flat
of sense.
anywhere. So what's the idea? They are mixing concepts in the wrong manner, you know.
Yeah, I like the castellated pins, whether it's got components on the back or not. If you need to mount it to a board, you can cut a hole in the board.
Yeah, but this is, you can make a hole, but not a bunch of holes.
All right, you'll make one big one.
Hmm. You don't need, you can make the castellated in your board. You make a square with
Yeah.
castellated pins and you solder a microcontroller without castellated from the bottom. Let's see.
Yeah, hard drive, cell phone. It seems to me like I've got a microcontroller somewhere that used that style uh USB. I don't know what it. Maybe it was one of those Renesas boards.
The
Yeah, that I tried to give away twice.
what was the original name of Renesas? Renesas.
I'm,
There used to be a famous common brand. Uh, check. Let me ask Google.
Google knows everything, and what
Of
it
course,
doesn't know, it'll make up.
you can't even get the perfect connector anymore. DB9.
They
Yep.
used to be Hitachi and Mitsubishi,
Okay.
and they merged with NEC Electronics. Wow. They combined Hitachi, Mitsubishi, and NEC. National, right? National Semiconductors is NEC. I don't like the
Mm-hmm.
name. The name Renesas is, I never use anything from them. I don't know.
Well, they make industrial controls
Yeah. They are
more than
more
stuff for
focused
us.
in industrial stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think this is a good marketing strategy to make the students and the makers use their products,
Well,
like
I
Microchip
ended up
did.
with a couple of their boards, and mainly because they were giving them away because they gave them away because they wanted you to buy more of their
Yeah.
boards.
Okay.
Um, so I ended up with a couple of them. They're interesting, but they're pretty useless for makers. I mean,
Yeah.
they're
Well, the Arduino 4 is using a Renesas microcontroller, but the microcontroller costs like $8 each. So the board is very expensive. I don't understand why they choose the Renesas. This is the Arduino Minima, I think. Let me check.
I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to what Arduino does anymore.
Arduino Minima, they use Renesas. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I check the price in Mouser, it costs eight bucks, just the chip. So what's the idea? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is the Arduino Minima.
I think all of
Is
oh
this?
yeah. And that's the one without the extra LEDs and stuff. I
No,
think a
this is
It's
the
lot
got
of
a
other, the other one is
it's got
another.
power, transmit, and receive. That's all the lights on the original Uno.
Yeah, but the capacity of the pins are 1/4. They are like 8 milliamps instead of 40 milliamps
Hmm.
of the 80 mega. Uh, the voltage is 5 volts. It's okay, but I don't know. You
they
have more
Ah,
processing
22
power.
bucks.
No, euros.
22
But
euros, that would be more.
but this is supposedly for
It's usually
beginners.
about $1 to €1.
I don't know. Maybe they made this to avoid the
Yeah.
clones, you know. But it has no sense to have
It's
an open hardware thing with a very expensive microcontroller.
it's about 26 bucks.
And they have the version with the LEDs in this area. Is is this one?
Yeah.
It has an ESP32 here for Wi-Fi connection, the same microcontroller, and the LED array here. But I don't know.
I just I, I think their stuff is just expensive. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If it's not made in China, it's expensive. This is made where? In Italy, I think. Yeah, made, designed, and assembled in Italy. Open source. This little heart here is a capacitive input. You can touch it and make programs to check the touching of this thing. This little heart. Click to span. There you go. You see this?
yep.
The front. They have a switching power supply. Maybe you have a better voltage range here. USB-C. This is a serial adapter for the ESP32. I think the main microcontroller doesn't need adapter to connect to the USB-C. This is like a level converters for I2C to this. This is the connector from Adafruit or
Spark Fun.
Right.
SPI.
So, yeah. No, I2C, I think.
It's
Four pins.
yeah, it's the quick thing, the
Oh,
tiny
okay.
With connector, yeah.
that I was playing around with a microcontroller the other day that used that, and I found out that even though it was a 4-pin connector, the wires matter. I had a four wire cable, and I plugged it in and I plugged it into the device, and it shorted the board out. I unplugged it, the board worked, everything worked. I
Yes.
changed the cable instead of yellow, whatever it was, yellow,
Well,
red, something. It had a purple cable, and the purple cable worked just fine. But the other cable didn't. And I'm like, I got these cables from the same company.
maybe they swap some the
Yeah, but
power of
why
the
would they do that? Why? Well, I found out though that the um, purple cable doesn't work with the general I/O. It only works with the I2C, and the other cable works on the general I/O. So yeah, I was kind of
they have a connector for the serial RS whatever.
hmm
They swap the TX and RX, you know.
Well, I think
They,
that's
they,
what this cable did. Yeah.
they were using the wrong cable. Yeah.
But but my thing is why would you have two 4-pin connectors that use different cables?
Well, because
And they're
one of the they have digital I/O, they have I2C, and they
yeah,
have serial swap two lines,
but
and
but
they have a special cable for that.
but it's the same connector.
Same connector, yeah, yeah. Well,
It's
life is a
that
bitch.
is the most that is one of the stupidest things I've seen. If you're using the same connector, you should be able to plug wires into it. As that's just me. Maybe that's just me. Especially if the two connectors are on the same board, right? You've got
Yeah, yeah,
I2C and the GPIO, and they're right next to each
yeah,
other.
yeah.
The cable should be the same cable. Especially,
At least they can have different colors, maybe for the connectors.
well, they yeah. Well, yeah, I would yes. If they colored their connectors differently. That's another reason why I like Grove connector. It's a
No, but the
bigger connector.
Grove has the same Grove have has the same problem. They swap the TX and RX, but they have different colors. Yes,
They use different
they have
colors.
different colors.
But the every cable I've ever plugged into it works. So I I don't know. I get I get the quick it is smaller, and for, small boards, you might want something smaller, but you ought to come up with a system to color your connector, or make it more obvious that you should use something different than that. Because that when I plugged in the one cable, I was like, oh, what the hell? The board it shorted the board out. And I'm like, I was just using that board. That can't it couldn't
And
have
five
gone
stack
bad.
and five stack has the GPS module because maybe they changed the lines in the GPS serial connector in the module, but you need to know when you have a master and when you have a module or a slave in serial communication.
Well,
Use a
M5
straight cable.
M5 stack is on like most of their stuff is ESP32 based, and you can swap the pins in software. So you
Yeah.
could tell it that whatever pin is going to be the TX and this pin's going to be the RX, and then in the other device you swap them so that it swaps in software. But yeah, I think they've made compensation for that in like the hardware. The hardware has the pin swapped.
They have a blue connector for the serial specifications.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. They have
You
DX
can you
and
can you
RX.
you can actually tell that connector to be anything though. It doesn't have to be serial.
But
You
you
could
can use serial if you use devices that already have the swapping
yeah.
in their pins, you know?
Yeah,
You see the
yeah.
connector.
That's
Maybe
that's
maybe the microcontroller has these two pins swap.
I would imagine that the GPS has the two pins swapped, not the microcontroller. Because you could tell the microcontroller to be anything you want it to be.
Yeah.
They've got
TX is in the outside, right? TX.
yeah, I
But if
think
we look for a core product, what's happening here? Products.
they've got this they've got
From,
this red color.
uh,
I think that's I2C. And they've got the black color, which
yeah.
is should be GPIO.
This have serial somewhere.
So this has that board that you're looking at.
Well, actually, you can program which one is TX and which one is RX. You know, in the SP32, you can do whatever you want
This
to
right,
match
right.
to match the connector.
That
Yeah,
connector is red, but it can be anything.
yeah. You can
And
use I2C here or whatever.
on
Yeah.
the original, yeah, it's red too. On the original, that's also red. This one here, this one actually has all three. This one has the red on one side, a blue on one side, and a black on one side. So,
Right.
but you could tell these pins to be anything you want them to be.
Yeah.
This one's the same as the other. It's got a red, a blue, and a black.
Borders. This guy also has the red one.
The um the sticks, the stick C has a white one, which pretty much means it could be anything. like you said, though, the M5 stack is different colors, which makes it easier. You just plug it in to the same color, and yep, that could be anything.
Yeah.
It's white. It could be
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, you are connecting a GPS. You just specify the right functionality for the pins.
That
No
that one
problem.
that one will also take 5 volts in.
Mhm.
So
You can
you can
choose in or out.
yep.
Yeah, nice.
That's an interesting feature.
Yeah,
But they thought it through at least so that if you have two blue devices, you just plug them in and in theory they should work without making any changes. So,
you have the new PLC.
yep,
Okay,
yeah. I'm waiting for the tab to come back in.
this is the
I don't know
PLC,
what to
right?
do with it. I've got it. I don't know what to do with it.
And you have a blue and a
It's
red connector.
it's got all three connectors on it.
Okay,
Somewhere there's a black connector on it too.
somewhere.
Are
Somewhere.
those outputs dry contact or transistor?
No, they are relays.
It's a relay.
So,
Relay,
so dry
they,
contact. Cool.
yeah, 250 volts AC, 5 amps.
Yep. And they will
And you have
the
isolation inputs.
the interesting thing about that was it when you shut it off, it does actually remember the state of the pins. So when you turn it back on, if a pin was energized, it will still be energized.
I
It
like how it looks. Really
Yeah,
nice.
it looks like a PLC.
The power supply, they already released the power supply for it.
I think so.
I think that it is connected here, this the side.
Oh, they gave you they gave in the box it comes with the connector, so you could just
Okay,
wire it up yourself.
okay.
What's the big 2-pin connector under the orange one on that side?
This one,
That is 485.
Oh, oh, weird.
Yep,
yeah.
Power
four
485.
power
Huh.
485.
At
CAN
least I'm
Power
bus
assuming that's what PWR stands for.
and
Huh.
can also.
and CAN bus.
Can. The power is the bottom, the black one.
Yeah, I think you hook the power up. I think there's screw terminals up there that where the power hooks up. There's a CAN bus. It's got basically all the buses
Yeah, nice.
you would want.
You have a screen and 3 buttons
Yep.
to scroll, whatever.
Yeah.
Booster.
But like I said, the most interesting thing about that one was it remembers the state of the pins.
You have a
Um,
real-time clock
yep.
where maybe this chip has a RAM, a bucket RAM. Maybe they save the state of the pins
Yeah.
on
They
it.
must.
Mhm.
It was very interesting, but I even put my own program on it and
Mhm.
killed the power and then powered it back up and it remembered the state of the pin. I was like, that's cool.
The outputs, right?
Yeah.
The inputs has no sense, but the outputs to keep the relays connected or disconnected.
Well,
It's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But I imagine that you can choose this functionality. I don't know.
It is
Power. The power is here.
the power's
This
there.
black one.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think
there's
there's a
a
couple of different power options for it.
SD card also. A lot of stuff. Reset button. It comes with the S3.
Uh-huh.
So they have a what's new section. No,
If you go into the store, you can click on
I am
new
store
stuff. New arrival up there at the top.
here. Audio player.
So I see what you meant about the Arduino stuff. They're wanting $50 for a at Mega.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, they are expensive.
I mean, that PLC
My
thing was
Micro Center has
43
the
bucks.
yeah. Micro Center has the Mega in $19
Yeah. Well,
with the brand. No, the brand is
Inland.
yeah,
but
Inland.
you look at like what M5 Stack's offering. It's got real-time clock. It's got a screen.
Yeah,
It's got
yes.
four
You can
relays,
almost
and
do
it's just
anything.
got a ton of stuff for 43 bucks. It's crazy what Arduino wants.
Wait, what are the M5 stack keycaps?
Don't know.
I
Just
I
cherry keycaps. Okay.
I
Nice.
knew he would. I knew it as soon as he saw this. Um, so,
But it's supposedly you have like a
I mean,
speaker.
60 cents a piece is a little on the high side, but I kind of like those.
you can put your own stuff under it too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I kind of thought 60 cent. Oh yeah, like that,
Just like that.
just like that.
Show it.
I think there. I was looking. I can't see it now. I think there's like 3 or 4 different ways that you could power that stamp PLC. You've got here. You've got the power here.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Common.
You can
Look,
What's the C for, though?
common. I don't know.
common.
Ground. No
I
idea.
I don't know. I you
Oh,
Maybe the
common to
ground.
the digital
Come.
inputs.
oh
Ah,
yeah.
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Um
That's right.
you can power it through the USB port. I think there's one more way to power it. I think yeah, you could power it through that black
Oh,
port.
yeah, yeah.
So I think there's several different
This
ways
is
to get power to
a
it.
barrel connector.
I would have to look. I don't think it is. I think it's something else. It's got a voltage current sensor. on it. The inputs are opto-isolated and the relays. Then it's got the screen and the power can and 485. The temperature sensor, buttons, micro SD card, DIN rail mounting or other mounting options, buzzer, the time clock, and how it's programmed. For 43 bucks, 47 bucks, 43 bucks.
Really.
It's a deal. Um,
How is the documentation, the software and stuff?
yeah, it's okay. They're better at writing the software than documenting their stuff.
But it is really new, right?
It's fairly new, yeah.
They released it in
I've
months
had
ago
it,
or so.
yeah, I've probably had it a couple months. And I really only played with it a little bit. I don't know what to do with it. I I got it right before all the tariffs kicked in. So
Yeah.
however long that's been. It showed up right as the tariffs were kicking in. Um, so
I can check the price, add to the cart, and check out.
yeah,
Deliver to the United States. Shipping metal.
yeah, that video looks like it is a DIN plug, a barrel connector.
11 bucks, but they don't say nothing about tariffs, duties, import duties. Yeah, 18 bucks, 18.36.
$18 for the tariff and
Yeah, and
11
shipping
bucks to
is
have it shipped.
11.20 shipping.
Okay.
Total 72,
So
$7.32.
it should be stocked at Mauser soon. So I would just wait
Maybe
for
cheaper,
Mauser.
yeah.
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 So
Yeah, I need to check that. Yeah.
you're probably
Mm.
still going to get stuck paying a tariff at from Mauser, but the shipping's going to be cheaper,
So the tariff is like 50%, close to.
close to it. Sounds like it. So that's where they're going to get you now, the
Yeah.
the tariff, because the device itself is cheaper than the Arduino
Yeah.
and has a whole lot more features. Yeah. Okay. Patty just walked in here, meaning it's after 7.
We will be in person next week.
Yes, we are in person next week.
We can have pizza or something then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, for sure. So I will
Nice.
see everybody next week,
Nice to see
hopefully.
you. Bye
We're
bye.
at midpoint.
Yes, we're at
Yeah.
midpoint.
Okay, cool. See you there.
All right.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.